Hey, this is Dylan Hantula here to present Deliverable 2 for our project of preventing opioid thefts and drug diversion in healthcare. For the back end of the system, we will be analyzing data from a fire server, and then using that data, we can potentially find instances of missing or maybe even stolen pharmaceutical products. To do that, we'll look at the medication dispense and medication administered objects. To get those objects from the fire server, we'll be using a technology called Apache Airflow, which will be in Python to query the endpoints. That Airflow job will also transform the data into a format that only comprised of the fields that we're interested in, and then load it into a Postgres database. From there, there will be a web server with HTTP endpoints around the Postgres database that will allow a front end to access the data through an API. The medication dispensed object here describes medication that's been requested and then put into a cabinet to be administered. So this is before the patient actually gets the medication. Medication administration is the act of giving the medication to the patient. And again, if you compare the dispensed object with the administration object, there could be potential disparity in there, and that could indicate that there's missing medication. Um, the two objects, medication dispense and medication administration, are linked by a common third object called medication request. So using the medication request object, we can identify a linkage between the dispense and the administration and display that to the user. The front end of the system will be using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to perform HTTP GET requests to the backend web service that we spoke about earlier to get the data from the Postgres database. It's important to note that if there's any changes to the Fire objects, the front end will not view those changes in real time. The user will have to refresh the page. This is a prototype screen of what the final product will probably look like. We are still fleshing these out. These are not finished, but this is a lot of the data that we're interested in, such as the quantity of the dispensed, the dosage instructions of the administration, the start and end period, who the performer of the administration was, things like that. This is the architecture of the entire system. You can see we have a fire server that's being queried by an Airflow service in Python. The Airflow service is transforming the data and then saving it into Postgres. We have an HTTP web service that will get the data from Postgres and return it via an HTTP GET call to the front end. And then the front end application can be visited by a user with a regular web browser. The main tools and languages that we'll be using are Python, Apache Airflow, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for the front end, Git for source control, and Postgres for storing the data. This is our project plan. We are mostly still on track here. We're starting the backend implementation now. We've done most of the architectural design and everything like that. And now it's all on implementation. We do have some concerns. We have lost a team member, so now we're down to only 3 team members as the fourth has dropped the class. Also, the data sources that we are using, or that are available to us rather, through the Fire servers do not have many records for administration and dispense data. So we're looking into potentially creating those records ourselves in the interest of delivering the customer what they are hoping to see. And we also may end up using a front-end framework outside of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to help display the data if we find that plain JavaScript, HTML, and CSS are not sufficient. Thank you for listening to the presentation, and we look forward to delivering the next step of the deliverable.